and you pick up an apple tree branch, that means the apple tree branch got to be descended from an apple tree. Because when you're doing grafting, the branch is called a scion, which means a descendant. That branch is a descendant of whatever tree it came from. That branch is a descendant of whatever tree that it came from. Understand? That's why he's using a nectarine branch and putting it into a nectarine tree.
I can graft that into a 3-inch or 6-inch or whatever caliper wood that I want to go into. So here we go. And that worked nice and clean. It's really important to use one good pull, make a nice smooth single cut. You're not carving a toy boat. You don't want to whittle on this wood.
Now I want to look deeper into the word scion. Here's another web page, practical grafting. I'm going to jump right down to the word scion. A piece of tissue, usually a bud or twig, is what the man has in his hand, as you can see in this picture. Inserting the scion. This is a scion branch, right? A piece of tissue, usually a bud or twig, which is taken from one tree for the purpose of attaching to another. Those are, remember the 3 different varieties of nectarine branches? Remember 3 different varieties of nectarine branches he mentioned?
It's nice and clean. I've got some budwood cut for 3 different white nectarine varieties. I'm going to put...
In fact, let's listen to him name the 3 different ones.
Put Snow Queen, some Arctic Star, and some Arctic J. So we're going to convert this over into a successive ripe...
That's all we need to hear. So let's go back to the word scion. A piece of tissue, usually a bud or twig, which is taken from one tree for the purpose of attaching to another. So he got these different scion branches, these different branches, nectarine branches to be specific, to put it into a nectarine tree. So a scion is a piece of tissue, usually a bud or twig, which is taken from one tree for the purpose of attaching it to another. Whatever grows from the scion is a genetic duplicate, a clone of the tree from which the scion was taken. Why is it a genetic duplicate? Let's go back. Because the scion or the scion or scion, whichever you want to pronounce it, it contains the desired genes to be duplicated in future production by the stock or scion plant. So in other words, this branch contains the genes that is needed in order for this tree to produce whatever fruit was grown on this branch for whatever tree that this branch descended from. You understand? Let's watch it again. I'm just getting mad because you got dumb fucks out there that think that it's talking about the other nation, man.
Put 3 different grafts or 3 grafts on this one branch. That way if something doesn't take, we've got plenty of backup. With this bark cut, I'm actually just laying my knife in through the bark and then giving it a little bit of a twist so that I can pull that bark out so that that flap moves. So I'm just creating a small pocket that I can slide the scion down into. Okay, there's my 3 grafts.
Stop. Notice he didn't cut too deep in either one of these branches. Look at the area of the tree, of the stock, which is Israel, that these scions, which are Israel, was implanted to. Where was it implanted? Right around here. What is this area called? Remember the vascular tissue that we read about? This area is called the vital cambium. See how it's right under the bark, right? Right below the bark. You can't see it? Well, look at a better picture. See? Right under the bark. Still don't get it? Well, look at another picture. See? Right below the bark. It's right here. Doesn't it look similar? See? It looks very similar. Why did he put it there? I'm just going to jump right to the point. Phloem and xylem. The cambium is a very thin layer of tissue, sometimes only 1 cell thick. It is the living layer that produces phloem towards the outside, eventually becoming bark, and xylem on the inside, becoming sapwood. Wait a minute now, where did we read about phloem and xylem? We read about it here in vascular tissues. See, vascular tissue is the complex conducting tissue formed of more than one cell type found in vascular plants. the primary component of vascular tissue are the xylem and phloem. So therefore, if the primary components of the vascular tissue are xylem and phloem, and he inserted them right here, which is the cambium layer of the tree, that means that this layer of the tree is where the vascular tissue is located. That's why I said the cambium, speaking of the cambium, it's a living layer that produces phloem and xylem. So he put it there for a reason. Why did he put it there? Because in grafting, the tissues from one plant are inserted into those of another so that the two sets of vascular tissues may be joined together. So the vascular tissue in this scion branch as well as in these are joined to the vascular tissue of these trees. Why? Because the xylem and the phloem, they transport water and nutrients, right? So therefore, the water and nutrients from this plant and the water nutrients from the scion branch and the water nutrients from this rootstock need to both be put together, right? Need to be joined together. The vascular tissue, which is located where? Right here, which is where? The cambium layer, which has what? The phloem and the xylem. They need to be inserted here so that why? The water and nutrients from this branch, and this branch can now flow into this tree. Understand? Now, let's look here. This webpage right here, if I didn't mention, is called www.appleman. You brothers can look at it right here. You know, let's look more into the cambium. See some different layers of a tree. The cambium cell layer is the growing part of the trunk. This is www.arborday.org. The cambium cell layer is the growing part of the trunk. It annually produces new bark and new wood. The cambium layer produces new bark and new wood. What is Greek for wood? Xylon or xylem. See, the word xylem is derived from the Greek word meaning wood. The best known xylem tissue is wood. And it said bark as well, correct? In vascular plants, the phloem is living tissue that carries organic nutrients, in particular sucrose, a sugar, to all parts of the plant where needed. In trees, the phloem is the innermost layer of the bark, hence the name derived from the Greek word pholios, meaning bark. Therefore, he put it in the cambium layer for a reason, because the cambium layer produces new bark and new wood, which the Greek word for bark is xylon, which is where you get xylem from, that transports the water throughout the tree and the nutrients. And the Greek word for wood is folios, which transports nutrients throughout the tree as well. That's why he cut this right here not too deep and put it in this particular area, so that the vascular tissues here and the vascular tissues here can be joined together, so that the phloem inside the vascular tissue here and the xylem inside the vascular tissue here and these branches and the phloem and xylem inside the vascular tissue here and this rootstock could be joined together by what? The cambium layer, which the phloem and xylem is located. Therefore, that is the vascular tissue, so that what? The trees can grow, so that the nutrients and water from these branches and nutrients and water from this tree can flow through one another. Let's look here. There's a web page here. Cambium, a two-cell thick layer of tissue lying between the wood and bark. See? From which the wood and bark of the tree is derived. The cambium also transports carbohydrates between roots and leaves. For grafting to be successful, the cambium layers of both scion and rootstock must grow together and form a union. That's why he put the cambium layer from this here and the cambium layer here. He just cut this. You can tell this little cut below the bark. He didn't cut too deep, and he put it right here just below the bark as well. Why? Because right here it said what? The cambium layers of both scion and rootstock must grow together to form a union. Let me zoom in. Hopefully brothers can read everything. Rootstock must grow together and form a union. Hopefully brothers able to read everything of all the sites that the spread had me put up. So now you brothers understood. I'm gonna say it again. The vascular tissue is located where? The vascular tissue has xylem and phloem. See? Xylem and phloem. And he placed it in this part of the root because that part of the root is where the cambium layer is located, which in the cambium layer has the xylem and phloem. Therefore, the cambium layer is where you find the vascular tissue. And the xylem and phloem in the vascular tissue, which is located in the cambium layer, transports nutrients and the water from transports the nutrients and the water flow through the plant. But being through the act of grafting, the tissue must be the vascular tissues may be joined together. It got to be put here because the vascular tissues here and the vascular tissues here located in the cambium layer, so that the xylem and phloem in here and here both located in the cambium layer can transport the water nutrients from both root and both scion.